All right, so like a billion gajillion years ago in space, there's like a precursor civilization called the precursors. Jesus Christ, that are like in charge of the galaxy, and they've got like two child races called the Forerunners, who are the Forerunners, and the humans. And the precursors are like, okay, we want to fucking die or ascend or leave or whatever. So they want to give ownership of the galaxy and responsibility for all living things inside of it to one of their child races. And they basically want to pick the humans because the Forerunners are sort of weirdos, and the Forerunners get jealous and they destroy the precursors somehow and turn them into powder, or they turn themselves into powder to survive, or they just become powder at the end of their lives. It's weird. There's powder basically, and the Forerunners take over the space, or they don't take over space. They keep it secret from the humans, or they take over their part of space. Or anyway, they take the precursor powder and they love it, or yeah, they love having it around, or it just sits in a space station, or it just drifts in space forever for a billion gajillion years. But I remember there's something about they feed it to like their dogs, and the dogs get weird. Yeah, let's go with that. So the Forerunners they rule the galaxy, and they are gonna feed the powder to their dogs, and the powder makes the dogs go weird, and they turn into the Flood. And the Flood are like this parasitic race that mutated from the biological remains of the dogs and the precursors, and it basically wants to consume all sentient life in the galaxy. It feeds on not just life, specifically, but like life with like an endocrine system. So that happens, but the Forerunners don't really realize it's happened, which makes me doubt the whole dog thing. I don't know where I got that from. But the Flood basically start encroaching into human space. And remember, this is like a billion gajillion years ago, so these are weird fantasy sci-fi humans. These are like medieval space humans, and the humans can't defeat the Flood, so they're just fleeing. And as they're fleeing, to the Forerunners, it looks like an invasion. So the Forerunners wage war on the humans, and basically defeat the humans, because the humans are fighting a war on two fronts against a technologically similar sci-fi alien race and an unbeatable parasitic alien race. The Forerunners basically reset the humans to like a medieval, or not even medieval, like a prehistoric civilization. They reset their evolution somewhat, and they reduce their civilization to basically like people in thatched huts, hitting rocks together. They get bimbified. So the Forerunners bimbify the humans, and then they realize, oh shit, now we have to fight the Flood, which we didn't realize are a thing. So the Forerunners begin their war with the Flood, and the Flood are basically unbeatable. Everything the Forerunners try fails, and the more and more every millennia, because this is going on over like the course of like a billion gajillion years, the Flood are taking more and more of Forerunner space until basically defeat is a foregone conclusion. The Forerunners have all sorts of AI and computers and shit. Is like, you're fucked, bro, you're fucked. Shit is fucked. 20%, 30%, 40%. Likelihood of being fucked, 99.999%. And this all happens in a very boring book series that has a lot of high sci-fi elements and some weird like eugenic shit going on. But basically, the Forerunners decide, okay, none of our military shit has worked, and we're gonna lose. So the best thing we can do is just like they do the cosmic equivalent of flipping up the Monopoly board and storming out of the room, which is they create the Halo array, which you might recognize the Halo. It's on the box. The Halos are these massive planet-sized doomsday devices slash terrariums that are placed at strategic points across the galaxy, and when they're like activated from a central machine, it's called the Ark, which is an even bigger massive space station slash terrarium, they fire off a orb, and the orb spreads out across the entire galaxy, and it wipes out all sentient life. And this basically starves the Flood. The Forerunners, who are all called, by the way, like in the books there's like a description about like how forerunners like choose their name from their deeds in life or some shit, and so forerunners are called like in the stars born brightly and intrepid on the ocean floor. But most of the ones that are in the games are called like the librarian, the architect, the pervert, and they have a plan, because they're not just gonna wipe out all sentient life and starve the flood. After the flood have starved to death, they're gonna repopulate the human race, because the halos aren't just doomsday devices; they are terrariums that keep samples of all sentient species in the galaxy that can be used to reseed all these planets with intelligent life. So the Forerunner Flood War reaches its crescendo. The Halo array is fired. The Forerunners wipe themselves out, except for a few that fuck off to outside of the galaxy in a short story or something. And over the course of like 100,000 years, the Flood more or less all starved to death. Some survive. And for some fucking reason, the Forerunners keep samples of the Flood on like every Halo, because they're stupid, which is a recurring theme in the game. That is the prehistory of Halo. Now, what about the actual games? So, fast forward about 200,000 gajillion years. It might actually be like 100,000 years, I'm not sure. Fast forward to the near future. Humanity is spreading out across the stars, and like any human civilization, they're being bastards about it. So there are the rich inner planets that have resources and wealth and luxury, and then there's the impoverished and exploited outer colonies that are full of the people actually producing the wealth and the labor, and they're sick of it. So there's rebellions springing up all over the outer colonies. Enter the UNSC, which is the United Nations Space Command. Yeah, I think I got that right. And they want to squash all these rebellions. So what they do is they form the Spartan program. Now, the Spartan program, which is retroactively called the Spartan 2 program, as a way to obfuscate what the Spartan program actually is, and sort of grandfather in a previous program called the Orion project. Basically, the brainchild of one Dr. Catherine Halsey, who is the luckiest genocidal maniac in the world, and I'll get to that later. But basically, what she wants to do is create super soldiers, a la, the Spartans of Greece. And the way she does this is she has access to the UNSC's, medical records of all their citizens, and she's able to sort of algorithmically figure out the most special toddlers in all of the galaxy. So she goes from planet to planet finding, the most gifted or genetically superior or lucky, which, yeah, that's a thing, lucky boy, Mr. John Master Chief. But she figures out, here are my 70 or so very special children. And she has them all kidnapped and replaced with Flash clones, which are very quickly made genetically inferior clones that are designed to die within a matter of like 6 months. So she kidnaps all these children, mainly from the outer colonies, because it's easier to make them disappear like that, which is a very macabre sort of twist. Is that she's kidnapping these children to train them to kill and oppress their parents. But they're replaced, disappeared, and they form the first class of the Spartan 2 program. These children are trained in military tactics, military theory, combat with guns, knives, blades, your fists, your teeth. And then by the age of 16, they're already some of the most well-trained and deadly force soldiers in the UNSC's arsenal. But now it's time for the augmentations. Part of the Spartan 2 program is to leverage Dr. Catherine Halsey's extensive genetic and scientific knowledge to modify these children into being super soldiers. And it works for about a third of them. Of the, class that survive training, about a third of them survive the augmentation process unmutilated or killed or crippled. And those lucky few form the Spartan 2s, who are these hulking, 7 foot tall, 16 to 18-year-old children that are now given experimental armor, as well as their augmentations that they can only use because they're augmentations. If a regular person was to put on Master Chief's armor, he would kill himself just by scratching his nose, because he doesn't have the fine muscle control to control how big and strong he is. And they're all gung-ho ready to start oppressing rebelling colonies and enforcing the jackbooted will of the central government. When lo and behold, luckiest genocidal maniac in the world, Dr. Catherine Halsey, gets the special gift of an alien invasion right when her Gestapo SS child soldiers are completed. That's right, the Covenant invade human space and start annihilating human planets at an incredible pace with advanced spaceships and weapons and soldiers that human civilization can't hope to stand against except for their very special Spartan 2 girls and boys. Now, the Covenant are a sort of a theocratic religious empire of various alien species arranged in a caste system with the Sangheli and the weird ones. I can't remember what their like species name. Sangshun. Who the prophets and the elites. Now, the prophets are the religious leaders, and the elites are the military leaders, and that's how it's been for thousands of years. They worship the Forerunners, who they've come to know for their technology and what they've left behind, and what they've been able to interpret from very poorly translating what they said about the flood and about humans, and the great journey they went on to leave the galaxy after firing the halo arrays, which they interpret as sort of a apocalypse, rapture type event, where they think, we fire the halo arrays, we've gone on a great journey. Now, they're annihilating human planets, one, because they're looking for Forerunner artifacts, and humans have a pesky habit of settling on planets with lots of Forerunner artifacts. And two, because the Forerunners, when they fired the halo array and decided to leave the galaxy, they appointed the humans, their previous opponents who they defeated in that ancient war, as their successors, and they wanted to leave behind all their technology and the responsibility for maintaining the galaxy to the humans. So, on a lot of the Covenant's instruments they use for detecting Forerunner artifacts, humans will actually display as Forerunner artifacts. They have a thing called the Luminary, which is a Forerunner artifact designed to find other Forerunner artifacts. It's very convenient. But when they turn it on around a human system or planet or in human space, it's like 50 gajillion artifacts that away. And those are all humans. The prophets, the religious leaders of the Covenant, don't really want the rest of the Covenant to know that the humans are the Forerunners' successors, and they basically are Forerunners in the eyes of a lot of the Forerunner technology, because then their religion, their society, their power all collapses. So they just say, like, because they have access to the knowledge that, the humans are Forerunners. So they just tell everyone else, the humans are evil, let's kill them all. The god wants us to kill all the humans. So humans engaged in a very sudden battle for survival as their ever-expanding territory starts dwindling and shrinking, and they're on the back foot against the unstoppable genocidal alien force, and the Covenant are on a zealous crusade-like war against what they think is a righteous enemy. And thank God we have those Spartans. The Spartans are basically the only thing that is the most consistently effective against the Covenant. Maybe an armada of human ships can take out one Covenant ship, but there's dozens just about to come, and on the ground, basically nothing conventional human weapons can't really stand up against the Covenant, who have force fields and plasma weapons. The Spartans are really the only thing that can actually hold their own against the Covenant, and there's like 30 of them. So 30 individual people against a war that has fronts as large as entire star systems. That's not scalable. So the humans are very gradually losing this war. They're constantly retreating, constantly winning small victories here and there, but it's not enough. And they're pushed back more or less to the inner systems. Now, human civilization is still, mainly based on Earth. It's probably one of the largest human planets, but there's also another planet that is the humans' sort of industrial and military center, and that's called Reach. Reach is, one of the earliest human settlements settled in the inner colonies, and it's basically the base of human military. It's where the military's based. It's where a lot of the shipyards are. If Reach falls, that's basically the herald that the end is near. And when you know it, Reach gets discovered by the Covenant. There's been a very long-standing sort of policy in the UNSC called the Winter Contingency. That is, if you're a ship and you're discovered by the Covenant, or you're in a battle, or you're about to be boarded or destroyed or captured or whatever, you've got to make sure that the Covenant cannot track you to any human settlement. So jump away in a random location, or self-destruct the ship, or wipe the drives, or shoot yourself in the head even. Do not let the Covenant discover Earth, discover Reach, discover any of the inner colonies. And the Covenant discover it. I forget exactly how. I think it's like some military operation leads to like a tracking device on a ship or something. Doesn't matter. Covenant discover Reach, and they invade. And it's a prolonged invasion. It's a long, bloody, drawn-out affair because the humans they're making a stand. They're not going to let Reach fall. This is a legendary moment in the Halo series where heroes are born and die, and important events happen, like the reintroduction of one Dr. Catherine Halsey. You might think after creating her little Nazis, she would pat herself on the back and drink a mojito, but no, she's been very active during the war. I think they trained a second class of Spartan 2s. They tried to get her to help with Spartan 3s, and she basically told them to fuck off because she's moved on to the next pet project of hers, which is AI. Now, AI in Halo basically comes in two forms. There's stupid, simple AI. I think there's an actual name for it, but they're just dumb. They're, chatbots. And there's smart AI. Now, smart AI are basically sentient creatures. They're cloned from human brains. So they sort of are based on a original personality of a real person. And this is typically done close to death or post-mortem. But Halsey, being a Nazi, chooses to clone her own brain and clone an AI from that. And in conjunction with some Forerunner technology that she found under Reach, she creates Cortana. And Cortana is uniquely able to sort of decipher and parse Forerunner technology and discover special things, like the coordinates of something that the word translates to Halo. That's right, Cortana is able to decipher the approximate location of one of the Halo rings. This is decided to be of paramount importance, and this information cannot fall into enemy hands. So Cortana has a team of Spartan 3s, which are like Spartan 2s, but shittier. Spartan 3s are the bargain attempt to recreate the success of the Spartan 2 program. They're not trained from adolescent. They're from the age of 6. They're trained from basically adolescence. They're mostly made up of conscripts, but basically groomed children conscripts. They're mostly war orphans that are told they can stick it back to the Covenant and serve their country. But they're given pretty good training for a soldier, but still not as good as the Spartan 2s. They're given basic augments, not as traumatic, but not as strong as the Spartan 2s, and they're given armor that's better than regular soldier armor, but it's still not as good as the armor that the Spartan 2s have. And they're treated as basically cannon fodder for suicide missions. Halsey decides to use them for their purpose and gives them a suicide mission to get Cortana off of Reach. In the final days of the Reach campaign, basically all the fronts are collapsing, the Covenant are winning, and this shit needs to get off the planet immediately. So, team of Spartan 2s, or Spartan 3s, including Noble 6, who is the player character from Halo Reach, and this event is actually depicted in Halo Reach. This is the final mission. Battle across Reach to get Cortana to the Pillar of Autumn, which is the ship that she has appointed to take Cortana, because it houses her it basically has her husband boyfriend Captain Keyes and her kidnapped favorite child Master Chief, who is in cryogenic sleep on board the Pillar of Autumn. A lot of the Spartan 2s were actually on Reach at the time of the invasion, because they were using Reach as a staging ground for a final desperate plan to get the Covenant to accept a truce. They were going to send a bunch of Spartan 2s to infiltrate I think they tracked down where High Charity is, which High Charity is the sort of mobile homeworld spaceship, giant space Hulk of the Covenant. Think of it like the Vatican City, if it was like a spaceship. They're going to send, they're just going to chuck basically every Spartan 2 at it, so they could kidnap one of the Covenant's high prophets and use it as a ransom to end the war. Obviously, the invasion of Reach and basically the collapse of human civilization. You have to understand that Reach is a second home to humanity, and the fall of Reach is significant. Kind of got in the way of their plan. So Master Chief is asleep on the Pillar of Autumn. Cortana has just been delivered, and the Pillar of Autumn's taken off. And Cortana engages in a random jump per the winter contingency, but unbeknownst to anyone, she's actually using the coordinates that she'd found for the Halo on her little dive into the Covenant artifact. So, boom! Into subspace goes the Pillar of Autumn towards Halo. The Covenant, having much better ships, much better technology, can decipher the Pillar of Autumn's trajectory and get there first. And now begins Halo 1. This is you mind telling me where we are, Cortana? I can't remember the actual line of the intro cutscene to Halo 1 is, but it begins here. Humans, the Pillar of Autumn arrives at at Halo. The Covenant had already gotten there, so they're under attack. They crash a ship on Halo, and Master Chief and Cortana have to fight their way through various locations to figure out what the fuck's going on. Now, they don't know what Halo is at the time. They just know it's a giant ring world floating in space. And they know that the Covenant are trying to use it to trigger something called, like, the Great Journey. And they don't know what that is. And they're constantly going to places called, like, the library to get the index, or the cartographer to find the library to get the index. Everything in Halo is basically called, like, proper noun. And they finally get to a place that is a bit creepy. It's this, like, cryogenic storage area. And Master Chief gets there sort of after the rest of the human forces and the Covenant forces have gotten there, and it's eerily deserted. There's no one around. There's corpses everywhere, but there's no sign of the battle, what happened. So finally Master Chief finds a recording that is the Covenant, in all their religious zealotry, accidentally unleashed the Flood that were being kept in this facility on Halo. Again, why the Forerunners chose to keep samples of the Flood around is a fucking mystery, but you know, who am I to judge? Master Chief battles through the Flood until he's finally sort of rescued by 343 Guilty Spark, who is a little robot who's left by the Forerunners as sort of the caretaker of Halo. And he's very excited, because he's been trying to find a human that actually seems like he knows what he's doing, and they just keep dying on him. So he's finally found Master Chief, who seems like he actually knows what he's doing and seems like he can help Guilty Spark. And all Guilty Spark wants to do is fire the Halo, because he knows that's what he was built for. There's a flood outbreak after like 100,000 years of fucking nothing, because he's been bored out of his goddamn mind. He's finally gonna get to fire his fulfill his purpose, which is to fire the Halo array. And Master Chief doesn't know this. He doesn't know that he's helping Guilty Spark end the entire life in the galaxy. So he's going along, he's tootling along. Guilty Spark sort of gets rid of Cortana, because Cortana's about to figure out that, oh wait a minute, the Halo array is designed to kill all sentient life in the galaxy. Because Master Chief, because 343 Guilty Spark just tells them that the Halo array is going to stop the Flood. And he doesn't tell them it's going to stop the Flood by killing everyone in the galaxy. But Cortana's able to break out of whatever Spark does to her, and she tells Master Chief that, what Halo actually does, and they turn on Guilty Spark, who turns on them. They decide that to kill the Flood and stop the Covenant and to end the game, they're going to detonate the Pillar of Autumn's reactor. They're going to blow up the reactor of the Pillar of Autumn to blow up Halo. They need to go get Commander Keyes' command chip. He's the captain of the Pillar of Autumn. They need his chip in his brain to be able to run the self-destruct, but he's been killed by the Flood already, so they have to go into the Flood's area and squelch it out of his brain. It's very gross. But they get it, they get back to the ship, they blow up the Pillar of Autumn's reactor, they destroy Halo, they eradicate the local Flood infestation and the Covenant, and they escape as the sole survivors, except for Sergeant Johnson, who also gets off the Halo somehow. It's never explained. And that's the plot of Halo 1. In Halo 2, Master Chief and Cortana have made their way back to Earth. Some shit happens in between. There's a whole bunch of bullshit that happens in books and expanded universe content, but that doesn't matter. Halo 2. Master Chief, Cortana, Sergeant Johnson, they're all back at Earth for a ticker tape parade, medal ceremony for their outstanding bravery in the field of battle and blah blah blah. They're getting the very special boys and girls medal ceremony in orbit around Earth on Cairo Station, which is one of many orbital defense map cannon platforms that are designed to protect Earth from a Covenant invasion by creating a sort of grid of accelerated, railgun basically, cannons that are basically one of the only proven effective weapons against Covenant shields and armor. But during the medal ceremony, the day that everyone has been waiting for finally happens, and Earth is discovered by the Covenant. So everyone goes into panic mode. This is it. This is the day we've been waiting for. Batten down the hatches, do all the contingency plans. This is the final stand of the human race. But compared to Reach, and compared to every other campaign, this seems like a measly invasion force. This is a handful. This is a tiny armada. It gets through the defenses all the same, but it's suspicious. Why'd they send us so few ships? This is the final stand of Earth. You'd think there'd be the largest armada ever assembled. Well, this is because this isn't the full force of the Covenant. And this is when the Covenant becomes a political entity in the games, because previously in the game, the Covenant were just aliens, and they go, what were Halo 2, the Covenant have story. They're all religious, and they speak very Britishly, and they talk to the council, and the prophets will never stand for this. And the armada that has arrived at Earth is the personal armada of one prophet of regret. He's, the prophets name themselves for, virtues that sort of personify them, and the prophet of regret is the prophet of regret, because he regrets coming to Earth. We regret being alien bastards, and we certainly regret that the Corps blew up our raggedy-ass fleet. Hoorah! But yeah, he basically finds Earth by accident. He finds a Covenant artifact that says the Ark, which is a new Covenant sort of, or a Forerunner artifact called the Ark, that is some new sort of way to get to Earth, or to get to the Great Journey. And he wants to get to it before any of his other prophets, because he wants the power, he wants all the glory for himself. So he just goes to this location, not knowing it's the single most fortified position in human space. So he has a very good time of it, basically losing all of his armada except for one. He does an emergency jump away from Earth right as, he's losing this fight, because he knows he's not going to be able to secure the Ark, so he jumps away. And Master Chief, who's at this point gotten into the ship of the daughter of Captain Keyes, one Miranda Keyes. She's a commander of the In Amber Clad, which is like a light frigate, but they're the only ship really in a position to pursue the Prophet of Regret's ship as he retreats from Earth to another Halo. This one's called Delta Halo. On Delta Halo, there's a fully fledged flood uprising. This isn't like a tiny one that we saw in Halo 1. This is a fully fledged flood uprising that has absorbed enough sentient matter to create a sort of a hive mind, a grave mind that is personified in one big tentacly creature. And what the grave mind wants to do is escape the Halo array escape the Halo ring by infecting the Prophet's giant Vatican City ship, the High Charity, which it does. The Flood is able to get off the Halo array and get on to High Charity, where it proceeds to basically absorb all of Covenant civilization into its Flood hive mind. So there you have it. The Covenant, for their hubris and for their religious zealotry, have reached the peak of their civilization, and at that very moment, they are completely destroyed, at least at a societal level, by the Flood. Master Chief is able to destroy... Does he destroy the Halo? Does Delta Halo get destroyed? I can't remember. I don't think it does. No. Okay, I know now. So, they are gonna... While Master Chief is on Delta Halo, fighting the Flood, fighting the Covenant, he eventually makes his way onto High Charity, and he wants to stop the Prophet of Truth, which is sort of the main prophet. You think of this as the Pope of the Covenant. He escapes High Charity while it's being just consumed by the Flood on a Forerunner ship. This isn't a Covenant ship made with Forerunner technology. This is a Forerunner ship. He escapes on it, and he's heading back to Earth to go back in pursuit of the Ark. Master Chief tags along on that ship, but he leaves Cortana behind so that she can detonate the reactor of the In Amber Clad, which has crashed into High Charity in order to destroy High Charity and the Flood, because they're Master Chief and Cortana are very unoriginal, and all they know how to do is blow up ships to blow up artifacts. So Master Chief is on the Forerunner ship with the Prophet of Truth, heading back to Earth, and Cortana has been left behind on a flood-infested High Charity. That is the end of Halo 2 from Master Chief's point of view, but there's a second POV character in Halo 2. That's the Arbiter. Now, the Arbiter was the military leader of the Covenant forces in Halo 1, and he is sort of... the Prophets aren't very happy with him after the events of Halo 1. So they strip him of his rank, they arrest him, they torture him publicly, he's made a religious martyr. But instead of execution, he's given the option to become the Arbiter, which is a ceremonial title in the role of Covenant society, where military leaders of great shame or repute can have one opportunity to redeem themselves by dying in a glorious suicide mission or battle for the Covenant in the role of the Arbiter, wearing ceremonial armor. He is made the Arbiter. He's sent to go kill some zealots at the beginning, some heretics, at the beginning of the game, who these heretics are telling people that the prophets are actually lying. The Halos aren't going to usher in the Great Journey. They're doomsday devices. They're going to kill us all. And we know that's true, but the Arbiter doesn't. And he hesitates when he's about to kill the leader of the heretics, because he's like, actually, some of this makes sense. And He's sort of stopped and gotten around by a big monkey. Tartarus, that's his name. So there's another species in the Covenant called the Brutes, and the Brutes are like the third tier. They're soldiers, but they're stupid. They're not as, clever as the elites. They're like barbarians, basically. When the Covenant found them, their world was like post-apocalyptic, and they were just savage warrior race. And they want to move up in the world. So Tartarus and the Brutes and the elites' whole plot in Halo 2 is that because of the events of Halo and because of people's doubts about the role of forerunners and humans and the prophets are telling people, the prophets decide they can't trust the elites anymore as the military leaders of the Covenant, so they are replacing them with the Brutes. And as part of that, Tartarus is very adamant on succeeding where the elites failed last time. He wants to fire this Halo. He wants to usher in the Great Journey. He either doesn't know or doesn't care that the Halo will kill everyone in the galaxy, and he just wants to fire it. So there's a great schism in the Covenant where the elites sort of wage war on the rest of the Covenant, and there's a rebellion, and the elites have to join forces with the local humans on the ring to stop Tartarus and the Brutes from firing the Halo array, which they do. So yeah, this Halo isn't destroyed, it's just stopped firing. But at the end of the game, when they stop the ring from firing, it doesn't just go back into sleep mode. All of the Halo rings activate at the same time and go into standby mode. And the only way to fire the rings or shut down the standby mode is to get to the Ark. So the race is on. Everyone wants to get to the Ark. And that's where we pick up with Halo 3. Master Chief has gotten back to Earth. He does the space equivalent of jumping out of the window of the spaceship he was on with the Prophet of Truth and crash lands in Africa. The Arbiter, all the humans that were on Delta Halo with him, like Commander Keyes, they all got back to Earth, weeks ago. Because I think like Master Chief, like I get it's in like a comic or something, but I think that the fucking Prophet of Truth ship takes like a really convoluted route to get back to Earth or something. So they hook up with Master Chief. They all go to like their base in Africa, and Master Chief gets caught up on what's been happening for the last few weeks. So the Covenant have arrived in earnest on Earth, and they are searching for the Ark. The bulk of the Covenant's forces are concentrated entirely in a city called New Mombasa, which is where they believe the Ark is, and they're just basically excavating. They're digging through the city, and they're gradually uncovering the Ark. The Covenant and the humans fight as the Covenant get closer and closer to uncovering the Ark, and the humans are fighting to get to stop the Covenant from digging up and activating the Ark. Master Chief, fights through the local area to shut down anti-air cannons, so frigates can start, firing at the Covenant ships and stopping them from doing all this. And he does, and it works. And the anti-air perimeter around the Ark gets shut down, and the remains of the UNSC fleet can attack the Covenant ships, but it's too late. The Ark activates. It basically just makes a giant slip space portal in the middle of Africa that the ships can fly to and go to the Ark. And just at that point, a ship from High Charity, which is infested by the Flood, but it's being blockaded by the elites who are now on the side of the humans. They're blockading it, preventing the Flood from spreading out and infecting the rest of the galaxy. But one ship got through and it makes its way to Earth, and they have to fight for that. But that gets cleaned up, and then the question is, what do we do? Some of the humans want to remain on Earth and fortify their defenses and buckle down and sort of rebuild. From the humans' point of view, from a certain point of view, it's the end of the war. The Covenant have been mostly destroyed, other than the fleet that was literally at Earth like a minute ago before they all went for the portal. There is no Covenant society anymore. They're all zombies on High Charity. But we know that if the Prophet of Truth is allowed to occupy the Ark unopposed, he will fire the Halos, which again are all on standby since the events of Halo 2. So Master Chief, all his friends, all the elites form a ragtag armada from the elites ships, and again, this is your priorities are all out of whack, humans in Halo, because you need to go fight the Prophet of Truth, because they send one ship. They send a small ass frigate called the Forward Unto Dawn as part of this armada, and that's what the ship Master Chief takes through the portal, and they travel a billion gabillion miles all the way to the Ark. And it's outside of the galaxy, which means that it is outside the effective range of the Halo array, and the Ark is sort of a command and control center for all of the Halos. It can remotely operate any of the Halos, especially now since they're all on standby mode, and it can actually rebuild and replace Halos in case any of them are destroyed. Forerunners really thought through this Doomsday Device plan. So, the Prophet of Truth wants to activate the Ark, and he's going to do this by using the control center of the Ark. It's probably got a cool name like the library or the terrarium, the big Tesco's. But he gets, he does all the video game shit where he like activates free different locations and gets the key and puts it in the library and activates the engine, and he's basically about to do it. But High Charity emerges in hyperspace above the Ark, and the Flood invade the Ark. But this is a flood. This is an intelligent flood infestation with a grave mind. This is the grave mind from Halo 2 that was able to infect High Charity and has also infected Cortana. Because if you remember, Cortana got left on High Charity at the end of Halo 2, and her plan was to detonate the core of the Enamor-Clad, but she was unable to because the Gravemind infected her with malware. So, they're on the Ark, they're fighting to stop the Covenant from firing the Ark and firing the Halo array and destroying their lunch. And for the time being, they're willing to create a temporary truce with the humans and the elites. So there's a very fun mission where you get to fight through the Covenant with sort of like a never-ending set of flood reinforcements, and you kill the Prophet of Truth and you stop him from firing the Ark. So yay, we saved the galaxy, Patrick. But now the Flood turn on you because they're evil and they've destroyed the existential threat to their existence. So now they're just going to eat you. Master Chief decides he's not going to stand for this, and he's going to go rescue Cortana, because if anyone's going to know how to defeat the Flood, it's going to be her. So he flies all the way up to High Charity, which has crashed into the Ark at this point. So he flies to the wreckage of High Charity, and he rescues Cortana, who is sort of fine, really. Just like she's in a bubble. I don't know what that was about, but he rescues her, and she's got a plan along with Guilty Spark, who didn't die in Halo 1. He's back. He's also one of your temporary allies who wants to help you destroy the local flood infestation. The plan is, I think, this is one of my favorite things in Halo, because it's such a cute plan. The Ark is in the process of rebuilding the first Halo from the first game that you destroyed. And who has got the activation index for the first Halo but Cortana? So you could just use that on the new one and activate the Halo. And it's not like it's like the previous game where activating the Halo is going to destroy the galaxy. This Halo is like half finished, so activating it just means it's gonna explode, which is more than enough to destroy the local flood infestation. So great, let's go do that. Guilty Spark sort of doesn't want you to do that, so you have to kill him. And then you're able to get to the control room of this Halo that's being built. Cortana uses the activation index to activate the Halo, and now it's blowing up. And Master Chief and the Arbiter and Cortana, who are basically the only survivors at this point of the crew of the Forward Unto Dawn, they've got to escape Halo. And so you get the Warthog and you as the ship shakes itself apart. Get there in the nick of time. Master Chief and the Arbiter both get on the ship. The Arbiter runs to the deck, the deck of the ship to turn on the autopilot and fly through the portal back to Earth. And Master Chief, for some reason, stays in the cargo bay, I think because the Warthog crashes. So as they're passing through the portal to Earth, and the Halo is exploding, and the Ark is being destroyed, and the music is crescendoing, the portal shuts down, and one half of the Forward Unto Dawn, the half that the Arbiter is on, makes it back to Earth and crashes into the ocean. But the other half of the Forward Unto Dawn, with Master Chief and Cortana on it, is stranded in deep space, light years away from any civilized society. So, back in the Milky Way, the war is over. The elites and the rest of the Covenant races are free to sort of rebuild their societies and war with each other, while the UNSC is free to rebuild its society and human civilization from the cusp of defeat and sort of reap the benefits of winning the war and getting all this new technology. Back in the deep space, Master Chief and Cortana hunker down for the deep sleep. They've activated all their, distress signals. They put the ship, or the half of the ship that got cut in half, into maintenance mode, and Master Chief is gonna put himself back into cryosleep and wait for rescue, while Cortana is forced to sort of stay awake, which is a very unfortunate fate for her. So yeah, that is the plot of Halo. It's a shame they only made 3 games. I would have liked to see what happened after. Maybe Master Chief is found, or they find some new planet or something. It would just be nice to see what happens after, but I don't want to ruin a good thing. I'm happy with the 3 games we got. So yeah, there's a fun little feel-good story for the entire family.